Hello, my name's Jamie Sparling. Welcome to the FormABLE Podcast, where we talk about formidable moments in martial arts and formidable moments in the lives of martial artists. Today, I have Karl Carlysle with me from Hawaii, actually from the Detroit area, a good friend and JKD brother that we just spent time out at the Inosanto Academy. Man, how you living?
Hey, bro, man, mellowing out, doing good. After being at the academy, getting my feet back under me, getting back to normal here. So the good Lord's blessing me, man. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I'm here. I'm uh feeling pretty positive. It's a rainy day, but
Hmm.
still beautiful out here.
Right on, right on. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
man.
November in Wisconsin right now, so you're
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you're chilling. You're good, right?
Yeah, man. Good to see you. You're looking good, brother.
Hey man, I feel good. I feel good. Times have been a little bit interesting as of lately, you know what I mean? But at the same time,
Hmm.
one foot in front of the other, I feel like everything is coming together. I appreciate you saying that. How has
Yes.
life been treating you and training since we got back from the Inosanto Academy?
Well, I'm I'm a bit less sore, but I've just been keeping up with training, man. I usually am doing resistance training and swimming. I'm just starting to get back to hitting the bag some. Um, that that 6 days just kind of made me go, oh my gosh, I need to lay down somewhere. You know,
Yeah, I feel you.
especially it was a triple uh journey for me. It was San Diego, home to Flint, Michigan, then Marina Del Rey and everything that was going on there, which we never stopped. We take intermittent breaks at the house at the Airbnb, and then we
Hmm.
were off again.
Yeah, yeah. I genuinely have a really hard time sleeping at night. And
Mm-hmm.
the best sleep I got the entire year was during that time because, couple, three, four classes, training, and
Yeah,
man, once my head hit the pillow, it was a done deal.
I was done. I was done. I'd be up early and I'd stretch because I knew that hey, we were going to be at it. That's why when you guys walk in the living room, I'm on the floor stretching again. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got to get the kinks out, and get ready to go. You know,
Yeah.
and but it was like you know, if you ever could put it in the context of one of those TV shows where you put all these athletes together and they gotta live in the same house, but we were really only there for 6 days, but we're doing what we do. I mean,
Hmm.
you had a guy come over that had just come back from the Philippines, and we were
Yeah.
doing that and checking out what he was offering. And depending on what time we took off for class, we're up and out, or the late afternoon classes, which were great because it gave us a breather, but we were still talking about martial arts, talking about fitness, doing our thing. It was really that experience, man, is priceless.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and I really appreciate you being a part of it. It was a lot of fun the past two times that I went out to California. You were there with us, and if nothing else, you remind me to stretch. I would come out and I would be like, "Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
look at Carl, like he's getting into it right beforehand." And that helped remind me, to stretch out a little bit, and just seeing you get in your body a lot was a reminder to me, you know.
it was either that or be really stiff or pull or tear something. I'm like, we don't want to do that. You
No,
know, we're,
no.
there was so much going on, and yeah, we'd look at the class schedule for the day, or maybe the night before we look at it, but it was like, man, okay, how are we gonna work this out? And usually, I think we were on autopilot. It was like okay, this is what we've got for today. We've got Southeast Asian martial arts, we've got
Hmm.
kickboxing, we've got this. Okay, who's taking what? I don't know if I'm taking all these. I'm at least going to get three or four of them.
Yeah, yeah. And somehow I kick my own ass for not doing certain classes. Like, because I know before I would try to do them all, and you got to pick and choose, and the body starts to hurt for a while. But every single class out at the Inasano Academy, whether I watched it from afar or was a part of it, I was just blown away. I mean, as usual, it's kind of preaching to the choir here. Speaking of that, how long have you been doing the martial arts?
Off and on since 12. It's been about, because I tried it at 12, got back into it at 16. Was a lot of bullying, a lot of me getting pounded on, and me finally saying, okay, I'm trying conventional sports. It's not working for me. Nothing against track and basketball, but they weren't me. And
Yeah.
growing up, being born in '63, growing up watching Bruce Lee as Kato, and then later on being 10 years old watching him in Enter the Dragon, it was okay, man. That's the guy. And
That's the
then not
guy.
knowing that Bruce from Green Hornet was the guy in Enter the Dragon, and finally putting two and two together, going, "That's the guy." Oh my gosh, that's the guy I've always wanted to be able to fight like.
Mhm.
I was that kid that kind of got in my own way. A lot of kids pick up boxing or whatever really easy. My dad tried to teach it. I couldn't do it. I said, you know what? Let's. I needed to learn something. My dad saw that I was trying to use my feet first, so he put me in Taekwondo.
Mm.
So I was in United Taekwondo for a minute. Years later, I met a former Marine who was teaching Wing Chun,
Mm.
Shaolin Kung Fu, and he was teaching Kaji Kimbo. Vietnam era guy. There was a lot of those guys floating around, and there was a
Mhm.
lot more of them that were doing the martial arts than you thought. Because now, when I look and do my research on the guys on the East Coast, Ronald Duncan, uh, Shaka Zulu, the Moses Powell, all these guys I grew up around, a lot of them were former military. A
Yeah.
lot of them, yeah. Ron Van Cleef, the guy that trained Timok for the Last Dragon
The
movie.
Last Dragon. That was the show. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. So really nostalgic, really cool stuff, man. Um, Growing up in Flint and Benton Harbor, Michigan, so I grew up country and city.
Okay.
Um, and but Flint's kind of rough and always was, and I had to figure, man, how am I doing this? Well, my dad put me in the martial arts first, and then later on, when I got a little older, I was like, okay, I want to go back.
Mhm.
And I remember my mom telling me, if this is what you want, you got to show me this is what you want, and what you're going to do to try to get there. You should start earning some money and doing some stuff. And I'm like, okay. And once I did, stayed. Oh, it had been in Wing Chun and did the Kaji Kimbo from that vet. And then I got into Tang Sudo later and was doing that up until I joined the army. Fought one tournament before I took off for the army. Did that. Took about a third. It was my first tournament ever. It was funny because I was 18 years old fighting a tournament that was being ran by another 18-year-old. It was his tournament. Um, he had the resources, so he was also a student of Remy Priestess. So
Okay.
I had seen him when I was younger, um, when they were doing a demo of modern arnis and taekwondo. Well, for me, hadn't caught the bug on Filipino martial arts yet. Modern and arnis hadn't really struck me, for whatever reason.
So 18. What year was that? 18. I'm sorry. You said you were born in
Uh,
63, so we're looking at 81?
1981. Yeah,
Yeah.
I went into the service, went through some training, went, in a it up at Fort Lee for quartermaster school for supply and things like that, and volunteered for jump school for airborne school. And then I was assigned to Korea, which when I was going to the recruiter was like, I asked for a lot of stuff. He said, no, can't do that. That's a skill, not an MOS. Okay, fine. Um, he put me into one job that I just didn't fit, and glad I
Huh.
failed it, but it got me my chance to the quartermaster school, and them going, hey, we've got parachute riggers here. Anybody wants to go airborne? Let me know. Boom, boom. We were like, yes. I was like, okay, raise my hand, man. Um, but the recruiter said, if you could go to Korea to get your black belt, would you go? You don't ask an 18-year-old that. Yes, I'm out of here. Okay. You know, even though I wanted to go to Fort Bragg where my dad had served and my brother had served, that
Mm-hmm.
happened later. So that's fine. Um, More martial arts influences around the military than you knew. You'd meet random guys that did different stuff. Uh, and yeah, it's really cool to
Yeah.
I met a guy that was a Choi Lee Foot guy. I met a guy that was a wing. I met a couple of Wing Chun guys, one from Puerto Rico and one from Philadelphia.
Hmm.
So I kept touching bases. Um, I was studying Taekwondo in Korea and fighting tournaments for my battalion. They had a battalion Taekwondo team, which was cool because you get to you get to test your skills or what little skills you got, coming up, coming
Yeah.
up, And I mean, I came up through there because I was a green belt Tang Sudo, and my teacher Tang Sudo was willing to vouch for me, and I taught the Taekwondo teacher who ran the team. Well, the way that went down was he took a look at me sparring and kind of went, "Yeah, okay, we can work with you." So that that happened, and that I was there for a year. Um, when I went to Fort Bragg, there were other things going on where I didn't train as much.
Mm-hmm.
A best friend of mine, he graduated. Actually, my god brother. We trained together in Wing Chun, and then we were what were we doing? We were at Bragg. He was at a field artillery unit. He was communications. He was a communications guy, and we started training together again. And then I got whisked off to Grenada. I had deployment there, and then 2 months later, Egypt. So
Wow.
Sinai, and so 6 month duty there, and a few events from Korea to from Korea to Fort Bragg to Grenada to Egypt, and then um, wow, where was I? Oh, got out for 4.5 months by 1984. Didn't like being out. Went back in and went to school for communications. Then ended up in Alaska. I took a little bit of Shito-ryu karate over in Alaska.
Nice.
So
Man,
there
you've
was
been a lot
a
of
there was
places, man.
got around a little bit, and had different guys, different martial artists. When I was on Grenada, one of my sergeants he was a guy who was Japanese Budo,
Okay.
and decided that should probably teach Carl how to throw a knife. So it was things like that. Then one of the other sergeants was a Taekwondo guy. So yeah, man, I get little bits and pieces of things from people. I was that kid that liked to soak up stuff, pick up from the older guys. Even if I was a little bit of a hardhead, maybe a lot of a
No
hardhead.
way. Nah.
Oh yeah, or don't we all go down that road?
Yes, sir.
Um, and yeah, but picking up different things from different people, getting home in '88. I left Alaska, got home in 1988, spent time with family in Portland, Oregon. That's a whole nother story because I was doing security work there and some things that went down. Life has been eventful.
Yeah, sounds
Getting
like it.
back, getting back to Michigan, and I say by 1990, started studying again. Oh, Wing Chun. Back, found another instructor who had bought the old Wing Chun school from the Marine. The Marine had moved away, I think South
Hmm.
Carolina. His name was Dave Williams, and I was training with a gentleman by the name of Hameen Rasul, another Vietnam vet. He had actually been with 25th Infantry Division, Hawaii. Funny, I'm out here, and um he was a vet that served in Vietnam. Him and a group of guys. A lot of the instructors, man, that come across that had a military experience for that time period, or even guys I just read about. I mean,
Hmm.
we could go from Ronald Duncan to Chuck Norris to whoever. These guys, Joe Lewis, who were kind of rough guys.
Hmm.
So
It
I
sounds
started.
It
I
sounds a
Go
lot
ahead.
like Guradan's story, with the different times when he was in the service and might have just got pieces from people, right? And then kind of put it all together. Is that what I'm getting?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It you know when you go in and you accumulate some knowledge from someone, it's like these people, they were doing it from the perspective of, this is a life skill. You might need this. Here, take this. There, you know,
Yeah.
we spend some time. I mean, me and the sergeant, we spent time trying to figure out if how I learned how to throw a knife, things like that, and have me doing it is just one of those little things that some people would say, I don't pay any attention to that, but it was a life skill. I was doing that before I even got into Filipino martial arts.
That's what it
You
sounds
know,
like. That's what it sounds like. And my first Sifu, he had some visual impairments. And so he had learned knife pieces that he was not supposed to teach because it was specifically for him. And back in the
mm-hmm.
day, it sounds like that's what was happening with you, is that people would just give you pieces that were specifically for Carl.
Yeah. And being in Korea, I remember asking my instructor, can I learn Tang Sudo also? Because I learned it before. I said, I like Taekwondo, but I was wondering, can I get a black belt in that? And he was like, no. I said, well, why not? And he was like, I lose job. It was very, very political there because they had done the changeover
Hmm.
to from Tang Sodo to Taekwondo being the national sport.
Okay.
It was kind of a thing, kind of like baseball, but oh, pardon me,
You're good.
yeah, been up and moving all day, which it's early, early afternoon. Well, yeah, a little after one here, but it's so crazy. Things that you see and you hear, you don't think about politics when you're doing martial arts. You just think, I just want to learn. So, you know, I mean, really, for most of us, it's, hey man, put me on the floor, let's learn.
But
Even if it means me getting knocked around.
well, any amount of times though, you're with people, you're gonna get the politics piece. For a second, I was like, I'm almost always thinking about it, which is
Mm,
unhealthy. Those things
that
sometimes just come with it because it's just relationships and people.
that was early on in my life. I mean, I got on the Taekwondo team at 19. When I left Korea, I was 20.
Okay.
Um, Went through a couple of schools, a couple of military schools they had there, Australian Rappel School on Jeju Island, uh, and then Korean Ranger School. Spent the week with their Rangers. I watched an instructor exhibit something. He was doing a form, looked like Chinese Kung Fu.
Hmm.
Wasn't sure what it was, but you know, very open hand, empty hand. It was so interesting. But the Korean Rangers were probably the tallest Koreans I ever seen, and nothing but bone and sinew, slim guys, rock hard guys. And you're just like, okay, I'm like, these guys are training me as 12 hours of PT per day for that week, and you double timing up a mountain range, and then they show you these obstacles, and then they demo them. Then you have to do them.
Mm.
Rope bridges, everything. Doing jumping jacks while you're on a cliff. You know,
Sounds like
but
a kung fu movie, Carl.
it does.
It
Oh,
does.
it's ridiculous because even they even had the monkey poles.
The monkey pose.
All the sets of poles where you got to stand on one leg and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
The multiple, yeah,
Hmm.
they had that. It was like, what have I walked into?
What did you
This is fun.
practice on the monkey poles? Was it just a form or
Balance.
balance or?
Just they'd have you stand on there, one leg, balance the best you can. Yeah.
With like a
And
little drop off just to encourage you?
um
That's
no,
too
no,
kung
no.
fu movie. God, it's too kung fu movie-ish.
You'd have some of the poles were maybe different height, but you'd have a area where it's a group of them. And yeah, once you got up there, you met with some difficulty balancing.
Oh, I bet.
You know, they also did one rope, two rope, and three rope bridges that you had to cross a what I thought was maybe only 150 feet. I found out years later it was like about 400 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that you had a safety hookup, but that's the most you had. And you're trying to get across this rope, get from one end of the precipice to the other. So yeah, it's kind of wild. And carried that background with me through the military, through the martial arts, um, doing tournaments was interesting because I'd go through the Michigan karate circuit. I'd even get some open kung fu tournaments. I had a friend named Henry Chung who was Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. He ran a tournament up in Midland, Michigan. So shout out to him. God bless you. Lord Jesus bless you, man, because he coolest. That's my as they say in Chinese dog guy. When his father was still with us, Sigong, you'd see his father do demos of Northern Shaolin praying mantis. He'd do stuff. He had taught his kids. Tournament was open and invited everyone. So really cool stuff.
Was it
Uh,
forms, sparring, all the
yep,
above?
yep. And even one time I got a chance to hang out with them and did a seminar because they had an instructor come up named Lily Lau. She was Eagle Claw Kung Fu, I believe, 33rd Grandmaster. Her father taught her. She was the first female instructor, I believe, at the Chingwu school.
Hmm.
And if you ever heard of that school, they mentioned that school in the Bruce Lee movie, The Chinese Connection.
Yeah. It sounded
Miss,
familiar.
yeah. Well, she taught at Jingwu School. She's taught Hong Kong police, things like that, and she's been in movies.
Mm.
So I did a seminar with her where she was doing eagle claw, and it was really wild stuff. It was cool.
I bet. What did you take from the Eagle Claw seminar? Was there like some trapping? Was it hands, fist
Yep,
mostly? I mean,
their hand trapping a little bit different, and teaches you to move with the hips. She was a really small lady.
hmm
Um, she kind of her and Evil Rita Sawanda kind of remind me of each other, except for
okay.
Rita's Rita's movements. I'd have to say they varied a little bit. She both of them use their size.
hmm
Eagle Claw is a bit different structurally. Structurally, Silat. If you start talking about Mande Muda,
hmm
Silat, structurally different, but Iburito could really move,
Oh, absolutely.
you know. But Lily Lau was the same way, taking down people bigger than her.
When did you make your way to the Inosanto? How did you find your way through that? Was that through the Michigan area? I know there's lots of really great instructors in that area. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, this weekend, Sifu Rick Fay is there at Kurt Cornwell's school,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
and a number of different people. Kent Nelson's out there. I mean, that's just right now at this time period, but was there always like that deep martial arts presence there?
There was always a martial arts presence in Michigan. My father picked up judo from the Boys and Girls Club,
hmm
a little bit of boxing in the Army, and Army hand to hand, which he tried to pass on. So that was cool. Um, and and was so I could go plug in because I'm losing some power,
That's
but
probably
we're
yeah,
still
yeah.
good.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead and go on in.
Um, but
Sounds like
but
you
yeah,
have
we
had one heck of a life in the martial arts so far, man, and the military
oh yeah,
piece just seems to really be able to uh, add
it,
layers as you meet these
it
different people.
it did add some layers, but incredibly, man, I was at a martial arts tournament when I met my first JKD instructor.
Oh yeah.
And I saw this guy with this varsity style jacket, and I kind of went, "Hey, man!" I saw these Jeet Kune Do patches because I had always wanted Jeet Kune Do, but I thought I was gonna have to pack up and move to California. That's
Yeah.
that's something I always tell people. I said I really thought I was gonna have to pack up, move away. Um, I see this guy with this jacket. I'm like, dude, you do Jeet Kune Do? He's like, I teach Jeet Kune Do. I'm like, whoa! And it was Julian Laredo. Julian Laredo, who I find out later was studying at Mid Michigan Martial Arts Academy with Michelle.
Oh,
So
great.
with Michelle Kuzma.
Mhm.
So I'm trained with this guy for about 3 years, from 1996 to 99. And then I had to take off and go somewhere for the Air Force. I've been Army and Air Force. I had to go down to Mississippi, and I was down there for 5.5 months. And I actually trained with a guy named Robert Parham. Okay,
Okay.
um, boxer, kickboxer, no holds barred. At that time, they didn't call it MMA; they called stuff no holds barred,
And
NHB.
HB, yes,
So,
sir.
so I was still getting trained at. Um, what was cool was that was 95 when I met Julian. I was working for a martial arts school and I was there competing. I was working for a martial arts school in Grand Blanc. Well, um, by 96, I go over and find Julian's school in Lansing, Michigan, and I start training. Basically, I'm driving an hour and 20 minutes from Flint, Michigan. So I'm having to go, okay, I can't get over here as much. I need to stay here for a while. So I'd be there for 4 hours twice
Okay.
a week. And I just, Julian's cousin Juan, God rest his soul, would start in on my boxing, teaching me how to slip the jab, how to throw the jab, you know, and did a lot of that. And then there was Savat, and then there was Muay Thai, then there was FMA, and then my last class would always be Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We had a guy who had lived in Brazil named Dan, I believe Dan Thomas, and Dan Thomas had also done some capoeira, but
It's beautiful.
man, the way he played Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was like a chess game. You he'd be kicking your butt, and then all of a sudden you'd be in a move and he'd say, hey, dude, tap, come on, tap. I was like, oh my gosh, he's getting me and twisting me up. And grappling's always been, and I think still now is my weaker subject, but like when me and you trained at the academy, hey, I like to train it.
That's
Weaker
great.
subject or not. I love to train it. I love Brazilian Jiu Jitsu too, especially looking from the Southeast Asian martial arts perspective and the Paul Vunak perspective, where
Hmm.
he uses the grappling on a real crazy combative level that you pull the guy in, and if you got to, you bite. So it's street fighting, and we're like, oh, here we go. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You just got your full instructorship with Sifu Paul Vunak, didn't you?
yes, sir.
Tell me
Yes, sir.
about that journey, brother. Tell us all about it.
That came about. Like I said, I started with Sifu Julian.
Hmm.
I went out to Mississippi. I come back from Mississippi, and I start training with Scott Hand. Scott Hand is my other instructor because these guys are my first two instructors in JKD. And um, as time went on, the school that I had taught at in '95, which was Taekwondo based, I came over and an old student of mine had bought that school, Adam Bell. And so I started teaching for him back in 2006. By this time, I made my apprentice instructor under Guru Dan in '05. Well,
Okay.
I got vouched for, I got sponsored by Marcus Charles. Shout out to Marcus over in Chicago.
He's a
He
good
vouched
guy.
for me to become an apprentice under Paul. So I had been an apprentice under Paul since 2009. Somewhere around this year, I kind of went, I want to go train with Paul. I haven't trained with Paul at all personally 101. I got sponsored and I've been an apprentice all the time. We're talking 2009. It's been
Hmm.
16 years. So I give Sifu Paul a call and we're talking and we're going, hey, sir, how's it going? We've talked before. Yeah, man, it's great. Hey, look, I think I want to come out and come train with you. I've been meaning to pull the pin on this, hadn't done it yet, want to do it. He's like, yeah, 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 come on. So we get that together and I'm going, well, wait a minute. I need to go to the academy too. And I'm going home to Michigan to rest. Well, it was San Diego for a weekend. And plus, there was an Inosanto camp going on. So Paul had a couple of people, uh, they were from Italy, but they were students of his and they were students of Guru's, I believe Valerio and his wife. And they
Yeah.
came down because Paul was like, I want you to have some people to work with. I want to see you because basically this was an assessment. Plus, his assistant Ricky was another military guy. He's a recruiter and a former psyops guy, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we want to. What? How do you?" He said, how do you want this organized? What do you want to do? What do you want us to show you?" I said, "Man, I just want to be the student. Just
Hmm.
let I come be the student. I come rock like that." I said, yeah, I want to be assessed, but just, boom. And so they got some people together for me to train with. That's why I did 8 to 10 hours of training. And it's just, when I home to Michigan, I was a little beat, but I was good. But it was so funny because we were doing the rat principle, and
Could you tell
and
us about the rat?
the rat is Paul's. I could consider it like he says contemporary Jeet Kune Do. I consider it very condensed because you get in a certain range, you get in a killer instinct range, you get where you're trapping range, and boom, then you explode the Jitsun choice.
Hmm.
Okay, you can, depending on where range is, there can be elbows, there can be person tries to raise their head up on you, you can go headbutt. There's knees, there's you know,
It's
it's rat means rapid assault tactics. And
okay.
here's the thing: when Paul was training with the Navy SEALs out in Virginia,
Hmm.
like he says, the military has its acronyms, and it does. Crazy acronyms. He did not name it that. The SEALs called it that because they wanted to have something to call it. Okay. He was like, I didn't come up with the name. The SEALs did. So,
Hmm.
and I've, you know, heard his, talk to him about that during the class. During the 2 days I really picked up and heard stuff. But I've also seen the Enigma video where he talks about the SEALs coming one rainy night. He's watching TV and they're going, yeah, we want you to come work for us. So that deal is crazy. But the
Sounds
rat,
like it.
we,
Rap.
we
Yep.
train that. Go
That
ahead.
was it. Was that a good majority of your time when you were in San Diego? Was the rat system, or was
It was he crawl, walked, ran it. We go into that eye jab, then that kick to the groin, and then the punches. Well, he do that and he run us through that, and he check your knowledge to see if you already knew it. I had been taught it by Marcus Charles, and I also have looked over the videos.
hmm
Well, then we went into do your three Jukchun choice. The guy would throw a barrier up, and then you had to lops out him, boom, and then maybe come with a back fist, and there's that there's that level of progression. It was a system of progression.
Yeah.
And then we go boom, 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 boom. He throw a hand up, throw a barrier up, you go lops out, you get ready to throw the punch. He basically deflects you. So you grab that for another lops out. Okay. Maybe you got a headbutt. Maybe what you got is an arm drag, headbutt, or you know, depending on what level the hand is. If it's high line, what happens is you go hammer fist and then you go down to a groin shot, hammer fist like that. So it was that, and then went into 7 point joint locks. Real cool, real smooth joint locks. Only about seven of them. Um,
hmm
So we played with that. We played with knife. His main thing is you cutting the hand, getting the hand. We played stick. We played double stick, single stick, stick and knife. So a lot of defanging the snake, defanging the
hmm
snake a lot. Uh, Destroying that, and that was fun. That first day, I remember asking him near the end of training because we had gone to lunch and then we came back. We trained for a while. I said, "Sir, so how do you think how do you think I look? Just wondering how I look. You know, because he's got these ranks. He's got apprentice phase one and then full. Uh, you definitely a phase one. Yeah, yeah. You know, you look real close to full. Real close to full. And then he's like, yeah, you're really, really close to full. Then he looks at me and goes, you're full. And I went, what? What'd you just
Yeah.
say? You
Congrats,
know,
man.
thank you, brother. Thank you. It's still I'm still wrapping my head around it. You guys remember how I was when I got to the academy with you guys? I
Hmm.
was just like, dude, look, here's my certificate. Oh, uh, yeah, I'm a fool. I'm still wrapping my head around this, and I put it down and put it away, and I didn't want to look at it anymore. Um,
Hmm. You put in the
so
work. You put in the work. So, at that point, it's one of those things we don't want to be staring at certificates too much.
oh yeah, no, just you just want to drive on to the next, not just the next level, but also the next fun thing. Because for me, I have a philosophy. I've always told Michelle, and I don't know if I said it around you guys, but if I ain't having fun, if I'm not having fun, I'm not learning.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
understand
just
that.
have
Yeah.
to, on that person, I have to be like, you know, because the martial arts has not only been the thing that helped teach me to survive, but the good Lord gave it to me where it's also been my recess. It's been my stress reliever. Just, hey, I just chill. I'm the kid that was raised with Tourette's with no meds. Hey, this is just like, for me, JKD, Jeet Kune Do, the philosophy, and also the physical disciplines. It's got a lot to it. I'm never going to get bored. It's got over 26 physical disciplines. I just can't see me getting bored. I'm just like, oh man, this is going to rock, which it does every time I do something. Guru may go over some things that look like the same things uh, in a class, but that's only because you'll see some similar
Hmm.
things that maybe he did the year before. But the problem is there's so much material that you don't catch all of it that one year you're there. You'll
Oh,
catch
brother.
another little piece of it
Hmm.
the next year. I was there for camp last year. So I wanted to take regular classes. I love the regular classes. I love
Oh,
the
me too.
regular curriculum. You know, yeah, camp is great, but sometimes just being here and be the student, not worry about your instructor rank, come in and just go, okay, because he has made little subtle changes in curriculum. You get to see it in the regular classes too. And then on top of that, when we were observing the Little Dragons class, you get to see how he's got that curriculum formed to be able to connect up with those kids and their little brains. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about 30, 40 kids on the floor, and I'm going, oh my gosh, look at this. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of, you had, and I also noticed a really cool thing he did. He sees the kids ready. He would walk up, and he was probably already checking that kid out months
Oh, yeah.
before anyway.
Hmm.
But he walks up and hands them the belt. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's cool, because they're totally, you know, doing their thing and having fun, and they're plugged in that way.
Hmm.
And
And
but
it's
he's
not a
also,
test, right? It's not a test where they know they're being graded. It's Guru's just always watching. He sees the martial maturity or whatever he's looking for, and then he goes and does a belt with them.
yeah, yeah, that was cool because he was also plugged into their progression,
Hmm.
and at that, but yeah, like I said, me going the journey that I've gone, I've had two instructors in Michigan, and they both are products of Mid Michigan Martial Arts Academy. Dan Timlin, Tammy Timlin. You know, um, when I first met Michelle Kuzma, look, man, she was rattling off historical facts as they pertain to Jeet Kune Do and Mid Michigan, and and the guys, there. So it was like crazy. I was getting that, just like when I first started with Julian. He told me, well, my dad said, okay, if you start, you got to go all the way to black belt, that type of deal. And then with Scott, learning from him, and they trained at the same school, this, that, and other, and he did some bodyguarding and things like that. Like, and these guys are family. I love these guys, man. They've passed on so much to me. Um, just from each of them. I've got because I also got VUNAC stuff, progressive fighting system stuff from Julian before I ever went into uh the rat, or through Marcus or whatever, or on my own, because Julian had a friend named Ed Aiken who's from Lansing. He trained with Paul. One of his assistant instructors, Scott Morehouse, trained with Paul. Then I also got a chance to train with Sifu Larry Hartzell. One day I come in for a Saturday class. I didn't know there was a seminar. Sifu Larry's there teaching a seminar. I got to train with him for 4 hours.
That's cool.
You
I
know,
got to do one seminar with Sifu Larry. It's amazing.
yeah. So really cool stuff. You realize when you're passing through time and you meet these people, you're also passing through history. I've met Eric Paulson back in 2003, and then for the first time in years, I see him again this year when we're at the academy. That I think it was that Saturday
Yeah, I wasn't
that
there. I
Michelle
wasn't
was
there.
fighting.
Hmm.
Oh man, yeah, he walks in and I'm like, oh, and he remembered me. Oh, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, hey, what's going on?
That's cool.
Um, it's cool when I go there and physically I'm there and see Jeff Imada, and like this week, it's gonna be Veterans Day.
Hmm.
When me, you, Josh Pryor, and Michelle were staying at that first Airbnb,
Hmm.
I was here for the class um that Guru had for Veterans Day. He decided to teach stuff that he picked up from Leo Giron, which was World War II combatively based stuff.
Hmm.
How the guys with the bolo would deal with the Japanese sword. And we're talking the 42-inch
Hmm.
sword, which was probably an NCO or officer sword. I've had other people online debate that length of that sword, and I'm like, what they don't understand. Yeah, yeah, it's like you don't understand. This is World War II. That they may have made that all. They may have made those swords, those lengths for officers, whatever. You got to remember, hey, they were actually going out killing and fighting American soldiers, British soldiers with these things. Okay, but that being said, Guradan was laying down some knowledge that night. Every time I get in a class with him, he teaches maybe a little bit different, he puts a little bit different twist, or he shows something that I never saw in the seminars.
Or a
And the
different side of the same coin that I might have, like
yeah,
a second ago, I thought I knew, right? But now I'm like,
no,
"Poosh."
I don't know that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, or I gotta
the
try it from this angle or whatever.
the World War II stuff was just cool.
Hmm.
He didn't throw a whole budge technique, but he threw, okay, this is how the Filipino infantry guys in the U.S. Army and the Filipino scouts train to learn to avoid the sword and still be able to come back and return a cut to the Japanese soldiers. So it's like,
I love
Mike,
it. I love it when it's history. When that history
yeah,
piece is put in there, you know what I mean? And regardless of if anyone's going to argue the length of the sword or what the time period is, or
mm-hmm,
I don't know. I think that's the whole point of the internet anymore, almost is to share arguments more than information. But
yeah.
when it
I'd
gets,
rather get the information.
yeah, yeah, me too, me too, me too. You talked a little
Like I
bit,
said,
you talked a little
go ahead.
bit about y- your condition.
Oh, Tourette's.
Tourette's, yeah. What was that like growing up at a time when you doing the martial arts? I mean, when people do the martial arts, we're putting ourselves out there, right? We are, because we're in the middle of the room, whatever, whether we're
Mhm.
teaching or whatever it is. What was that like?
with 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 Tourette's, starting at age 8, they tried a medication. It
Hmm.
was Ritalin. My mother basically went to the doctor and said, I'm not going to make you take it. He's crying. He's throwing up. He ain't happy. We're not doing this. Doctor said, well, you're going to have to teach him how to focus another way. And there was a lot of model building and book reading and art class and different activities and just finding stuff that I like. Well, the martial arts was the survival thing. That that became the fun thing only because I found out it was the thing that I already loved, because I was basically going back to it. I had seen it as a little kid watching Bruce Lee, but now, so that and my love for it. I also loved baseball as a kid. That was my first love, but somehow that that martial arts, the Asian martial arts came back and boom, and it just bit me. I got the bug and it just couldn't go away. Over the years, found that I didn't consciously know it until years later that it was helping the Tourette's. Even the military environment helped the Tourette's to a point until it became too much.
Hmm.
So now, you realize that certain stress is good stress until it's not.
Yeah,
And for me, I had learned to become high functioning. So some people don't even notice that I have the tics.
I never noticed.
Um,
I didn't notice for a long time.
Usually during the, yeah. And also, if I'm training, I'm at my happy place. Oh, dude, I'm good.
Hmm.
I'm good for the most part. Maybe some little ticks here and there. I don't really tick out till evening when I'm really tired. And the reason why I'm even being so candid talking about Tourette's now is because I also felt like, well, the good Lord wanted me to start educating people, because they see so much stuff on TV and this, that, and other. There is a documentary that had a bunch of children with Tourette's on it, and it was actually I saw it in my psychology class years ago in college. It's called I have Tourette's. It doesn't have me, something like that. And you see all these kids. You got kids who play piano and do this, that, and other, and it's just where you find your focus.
Yeah.
Now, for the martial arts and for combative engagements and for even war fighting, in my case, if I'm in danger, my adrenaline elevates, epinephrine, norepinephrine elevates. Tourette's is a chemical imbalance that attacks the nervous system.
Okay.
So what happens is, when all those other things elevate, I have a serotonin imbalance. That goes away. The
Mm.
ticks go away. There is no Tourette's.
I
Okay.
trained
It's
Muay
just,
Thai with you and Guradan's class, and I didn't see anything. I mean, I never noticed. I didn't notice anything,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
getting tired late at night. I mean, I don't know. I think all of us were just towards the end.
We had trained so much that I think I was tired past the point, past a certain point. So it was like, oh my gosh, I've talked to you guys for a while. We eat a little bit, and then I go, yeah, gonna go lay down, and I go wander off, hit my room, and be down. And I mean, oh, it
Yeah.
was like, I don't think I can move anymore, that type of deal. But it was great, and because we went there and we got what we meant to get out of
For sure, brother. For sure.
it.
I appreciate you talking about the Tourette's in
Oh
on our
yeah,
show.
definitely.
You are a freaking beacon of hope. I don't know anyone else personally myself, uh, but that's really fascinating that when we're in love with something, right? And that just elevates that focus piece. And it sounds like your mom was critical
Oh
in,
man, I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I had the mom that I had, and she is really helping teach me stuff, teach me to, reading and stuff like that, which I would read anything that wasn't nailed down. Okay. Um, my relationship with Jesus Christ, my relationship with my family, first and foremost, Jesus Christ, because he's the one who gave me everything. My talent, I just want to take and honor him with it, not to
mm,
go teach people how to fight just to kick the crap out of somebody, but to defend yourself because it's so funny because Jeet Kune Do, we're a different kind of community. If you think about it, we're doing much older arts, Southeast Asian martial arts. You hear Guru Dan talk about Majapahit, Sri Vijaya Empire. You're talking 1,000 to 2,000 years ago.
mhm.
Filipino martial arts the same, 1,000 to 2,000 years ago, and we're training this. He's digging up all this material, these stories that you hear. We're helping dig up material and research. I'm still trying to find, and I may have to go to some old library or some old bookstore. I'm still trying to find the story. It's bugged the crap out of me about Alexander and the four bodyguards,
Oh,
where Alexander hires four bodyguards to protect his nephew, possibly a son, because his son was killed by the Macedonians for being mixed breed, for being mixed ethnicity. The Macedonians weren't crazy about that because the child was half Persian, half Macedonian. Killed that one. So the story I get from Guru Dan during seminar, during camp, is that this was a nephew, and he recently, in the last few years, says very possibly a son. You don't know. I don't know, but I took some of that. And you had the bodyguards, one from Siam, Thailand, one from India, one from Persia,
Persia.
and one from China.
Yes, sir.
That's not only where we get Silat, but it's also where we get the one that leans more toward the Chinese culture, which is the Kuntao.
Yes, sir.
And I guess in Indonesia, they outlaw the Kuntao.
Mm,
So go figure. It's something they don't like. I don't know.
yeah,
It's very, but that history is very fascinating to me.
me too.
Um, I like picking up more because if you look at some of the blades that are in the Filipino martial arts, some of those blades look like they come from somewhere else. You find out some of them are Persian. You know, the Khalees, the Chris. You know, I remember seeing that before, and that Chris blade comes out of the Middle East.
Mhm.
So yeah, but yeah, this me digressing into that stuff, man. Um, Physical
Carl,
fitness. Go ahead.
can I ask you about your teaching?
About me teaching?
Yeah.
Sure, sure, absolutely. You
Where are
know,
you teaching? What age groups do you teach?
I'm teaching from age 7 up. Right now, class shrunk down. I lost some of my boys that moved away, my teenage boys that were moving up that had been with me for a few years.
Hmm.
Um, and also I have had my dream class. I wanted kids like me that were ADD, ADHD, Tourette's, this, that, and other, and I was teaching that. Um, what I've got now is a couple of adult females, and I've got three young ladies
Hmm.
who are all age 11 now. Okay. And they're picking up, and I'm seeing it now. They've been with me about 8 months. So I'm seeing a gradual thing, but I've been teaching here at YCare Rec Center since 2013. So I've had different students. I've had adults.
Yeah.
I started out with mostly adults,
Hmm.
and done Thai and Savat and things like that. Savat is my thing. Real, I like it a lot. I like the JKD kickboxing because it doesn't look like anything. You just it has its structure, but you can take a fuete from Savat, put it in. You could take a Thai kick, or you could take a Chinese kung fu kick, which Bruce basically did, and that'll go into just like your basic jab, cross, hook, cross, your ABCs.
Hmm.
You know, um, your attack by combination. But I've had different people, and then I also taught in Michigan, and I was teaching guys that just, hey, they wanted to learn, they wanted to bang. One of them was a military, but well, I had a couple of military buddies, had a couple of law enforcement guys come in, and I've just had my guys that just came off the streets that were just my group, as I called them, my group of heathens, man. My guys over at Grand Blanc, Jordan, Andrew, Tony, and they're all just, I could teach, like I tell people, I can teach you all the same, but you're all going to come out different. One
That's
of
the
my
point.
students, one of my students became a Russian system instructor.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just cool to me, yeah, man, because we all just kind of go in these different directions and still meet up together. Because I saw all of them. My one training partner, Mike Boyer, who was with us in Jeet Kune Do, trained with Scott Hand. Uh, pardon me, he was there first with Scott Hand. We've been friends since 2001. The owner of the school that I taught at in Grand Blanc, Adam Bell, was one of my students at first. So, um, it was he what, 13, 14 years old when I met him, and he bought the school, owns it, just crazy, man. Um, been a lot of martial influences, from Taekwondo to karate to kung fu, which I really love. But
Hmm.
um,
It's like a collection of martial arts. It's like a collection of stories almost, you
mm-hmm.
know?
Oh yeah.
And in a lot of other systems it seems as if you might stay with that instructor for a long time. Uh but in what we do, sometimes people are in and out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they want to go and maybe work Savat or do Muay Thai or nowadays be a part of MMA or Brazilian Jiu
Yeah.
Jitsu, And it's just funny because I feel the same way that we end up getting to be a part of their story and they're a part of ours, right? But you
Mm-hmm.
never know how long they're going to be around or even how long, for that
Yeah.
matter, we're going to be
Well,
around.
well, yeah, definitely. I found that my journey, well, my journey with me following Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, it's been a lot of learning how can I be better, and not just about the martial arts, just how can I be better, the way the good Lord wants me to be, and take that, honor Him, and help people. Helping people is, I think, that other part of the game that we get into. Um, as far as people being around, I found that Jeet Kune Do, because I once had somebody question this. I was working for Flint Parks and Rec. I had been with a Wing Chun instructor, left that instructor because, well, that instructor didn't want to teach me anymore, and it was just a thing that was weird at the time. Um, but the thing was that I had somebody come and say, "Well, hey man, how come you're not training with Hameen anymore?" I said, "Look, I said Jeet Kune Do gives me what I need." "Oh, well, what, Wing Chun's not good enough?" No, that's not the point.
Hmm.
People misconstrue the fact that, hey, you had to find where you fit. And I found that Jeet Kune Do gave me so many things that I fit all over the place. But
Yeah.
I can't just do one. I was at a tournament where, I was telling a martial arts instructor that I really dug mixing arts because I was mixing Wing Chun and Taekwondo. He was like, "Why don't you just learn one art and do that?" People are the look, what gets in certain people's way is them,
Of
not
course.
it's not the art. I've had I've had kids and even adults have confidence problems with learning the technique, and even I've had problems with techniques. But the
Me
thing
too.
is, I look at it and I go, "But this is too much fun to stop. I'm gonna keep at this. This is cool." I see people who go, "No, I can't do this," and they go, "I want to leave." Or I remember teaching a guy Filipino martial arts. You said, "Are you trying to confuse me on purpose?" And I said to some degree, yes. Or I said yes, but it was because I was. And he was a drummer, and he quit. And I'm going, a drummer quit? I'm teaching you stick. Just be cool and relax and learn it. I was teaching him. I wasn't going too fast, but at least I thought. And I always tell people, if I'm going too fast, let me know. If I'm going too slow, let me know. But that young man was probably overthinking it that day because, see, I had not been teaching him real fast before, but I was trying to show him things. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're a drummer. You're better than me. What he doesn't realize, some people do. I'm going, your dexterity with your hands, I'm decent, but don't get it twisted. You have this, but they don't know. They're thinking too much.
And sometimes too, I mean, in that type of situation, quite possibly he was thinking that he was going to pick up on it quicker than he did. I mean, sometimes one of the things I love about BJJ is that I don't pick it up that quick.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
no,
if
I don't.
it's always at the end of a day and end of a roll, it's real clear what Jamie needs to work on. There's no like,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
sometimes that's hard.
yeah. I need that.
Me too.
That's why I'll play around with the SEMA when we do the Southeast Asian martial arts, even if sometimes the getting up and getting back down makes me nuts. But I'm like, okay, got to do it because one, I like it. Two, it's taking me outside the comfort zone.
Mhm.
You need that. Um, when I did one of the JKD classes, um, certain things were taking me outside the box. That's because, hey, I was getting more curriculum. I think John was teaching one night, getting curriculum, and it was challenging me, and I needed
Yeah.
you know the Muay Thai and all that. When we were doing the sparring, we need that. We're learning at light sparring, but we're also learning to pick our targets, and we're learning to, hey, this isn't where you're trying to bang. This is where you're trying to learn how to move, learn timing, distancing, this, that, and other, and flow and creativity, and just go.
Cultiv
You
cultivate a skill, right? That's
Yeah,
why I like that
absolutely.
word, cultivate. Why? Because it's gonna have to grow. Like if I learned it, I had a conversation with someone the other day. It's like, you know, usually it takes more than one time, right,
Mm.
to get it. And in martial arts, sometimes we think because we use the word learn that it's like, well, once you've learned it, it's yours. Well, we have to practice it, and
Yeah,
sometimes I'm
you
gonna
you have to
practice it.
make it yours.
Yeah,
And I mean,
exactly.
I mean, it is yours, but wow, don't think, okay, take it for granted. It's mine now. No, you got to get those reps in.
Mhm.
2,000 or 5,000 reps for muscle memory. And hopefully you're doing it correctly because you want correct muscle memory. Or now you got to go back.
I don't even bother with that because I believe out of the first 2,500, the first 50 are going to be not awesome. And sometimes I have
Mhm.
students that absolutely positively will tell me, "Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna swing the stick when I was at home, but didn't want to do it wrong." And I was like, "It's a stick, swing it."
Well,
Then we'll come back and we'll
yeah.
fix if it's a diagonal angle or horizontal. But anytime that you're moving with your stick right now, you're cultivating something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my thing is not that everything has to be right because I tell my students, you're not going to get this overnight. I
Yeah.
tell them right away, you ain't going to get this overnight. I don't expect you. And I notice like my child students are expecting me. They're looking at me and thinking, well, maybe he expects me to get, and I'm like, no, I do not expect you to get this.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Relax, just move.
And
Just move
that's
or
so
do what
important.
I do and just move.
And that's
So,
so important. I mean, if anything else, getting us up and moving. I never liked baseball. I never liked any sports. I didn't like gym class. I always loved martial arts. And
mhm.
if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be into
I wasn't
movement
much of
skills
an
at all.
athlete.
Yeah.
I wasn't much of an athlete. I had to really, work at things and the martial arts. My dad tried to teach me how to box. Didn't work. I had friends in the army try to show me stuff. Wing Chun is where I learned my left and my right.
Okay.
When I picked it up, it just felt right. And then years later, when I got into Filipino martial arts, when I was doing Jeet Kune Do, Filipino martial arts felt so natural.
Yeah,
You
me too.
know, movement was just, oh, cool. Oh, we're doing good thing. Oh, I get to hit something. Oh, I get to basically give an arm some pain. And I'm going, okay, we'll do this. And but it was very, very eclectic, very different. I like arts like 52 blocks because of Filipino Pangamut. So I feel okay. Let's try that. Wow, let's do this. Let's do that. But everything's slow as smooth, smooth as fast, man.
You reminded me, and I appreciate that. Jeet Kune Do gives us an appreciation. If nothing else, it gives us an appreciation for other arts and sometimes other perspectives, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, man.
Would you like to come back and talk to us again at some point?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man. It's a
Yeah, man.
pleasure. I absolutely adore you and I have a great time each and every time that we're able to train.
Yep,
And
it's a blast. I love it. I love it. I love linking up with you guys, man. Um, wow, it was just really, really cool. I know it was a lot of hours put in, but it was really cool.
best
You
sleep of
know,
my month, best sleep of my September, without a
wow,
doubt, brother.
yeah.
Without a doubt.
Love you guys, man. That was
Yo,
cool.
much love to you. I'm going to reach out real soon. We'll get you back on the show. I want to hear a little bit about what you're doing with the young ladies that right now,
Yep.
have a different influx of students and stuff. And I want to hear all
Hmm.
about the journey. So thank,
Absolutely.
thank you for coming on today, brother.
God bless. Man, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ bless you guys. Take it easy,
Amen. This is Jamie
everybody.
Sparling for the FormABLE Podcast with Karl Carlysle, my good friend and JKD brother. We'll see you next time.
All right.